Alright, Addams fans, brace yourselves, because part 2 of Wednesday, season 2 just dropped one of the wildest plot twists in the entire franchise. We're talking full-blown gothic chaos, shocking reveals, and a mystery that finally solves something fans have been asking for decades. Who or what is Slurp, and where the heck did Thing come from? Yep. That's right, the final episode doesn't just bring the whole Addams family into the spotlight, it turns the spotlight into a burning spotlight of secrets, trauma, and redemption. Gomez, Morticia, and Wednesday team up on a dangerous mission to rescue Pugsley, who's been kidnapped by none other than Slurp, or should we say, Isaac Knight. And here's where things get juicy. Isaac wasn't just some creepy, mutated zombie lurking in the shadows. Nope. He was once a brilliant, slightly unhinged scientist who actually studied at Nevermore alongside Gomez and Morticia. The guy was like a Frankenstein meets Tony Stark with a love for the occult. And what did he create in his twisted prime? Oh, just the power extraction machine. The same one Augustus later hijacked for the Project Lois disaster. That whole mess? It started with Isaac. But hold on, this is where the show drops the bombshell that shattered our Addams-loving hearts and minds. We finally learn the origin of Thing. Think about it, since the early Addams movies, even the original show, Thing was always just there. A walking hand, charming, creepy, iconic, but no one ever said where it came from or why it was alive. Until now, Thing used to be part of Isaac, literally, a living fragment of the man he once was, cut off during a desperate experiment gone wrong. A hand separated from its body in an attempt to extract supernatural abilities, born from obsession, pain, and guilt. And suddenly, the quirky hand we knew transforms into something much more complex. Thing isn't just a comic relief sidekick, it's a symbol, a remnant of a broken past. Yet instead of following in Isaac's dark footsteps, Thing found a new path, a new family, a new purpose. And in the end, that's what makes it beautiful. Because when everything's falling apart and Isaac is on the verge of repeating his twisted history, it's Thing, small, silent, loyal, who stops him, who reaches in and rips out his mechanical heart, ending the madness where it began. That moment isn't just badass, it's poetic. Thing, once part of the villain, becomes the hero, the living link between past sins and present redemption, proof that even something born from horror can choose hope instead. So no, Thing was never just a weird Addams quirk. It's now a literal connection between Gomez and Morticia's buried secrets and the battles Wednesday faces today. A piece of the past, walking hand-first into the future. Alright, buckle up, because this theory about Thing, it's about to flip your brain and give you a whole new reason to love that little hand with big vibes. We've always seen Thing as, well, just that, a hand, severed, mysterious, weirdly lovable, and somehow more expressive than most full-bodied characters. But what if that twitchy hand was way more than just a clever sidekick? Here's the wild idea. What if Thing still carries pieces of Isaac Knight's mind? Yes, Isaac Knight, the twisted genius behind that power-sucking machine from hell. The guy who blew everything up trying to become something more. Now, hear me out. There are moments in the series, subtle ones, where Thing doesn't just react. He chooses. He hesitates. He protects. He judges. That's not muscle memory. That's consciousness. Emotion. Something deeper. So imagine this. During that catastrophic experiment, when Isaac's body was basically torn apart by unstable energy, a fragment of his psyche, a memory, a spark, a psychic residue, got trapped in the only part of him that survived, his hand. And that's when things get poetic, because instead of falling into the same darkness as its creator, Thing gets taken in by none other than Gomez and Morticia Addams. And over time, through strange love, loyalty, and all the twisted tenderness the Addamses are known for, Thing changes. Like a haunted USB drive overwritten by a new operating system. It's reprogrammed, emotionally. Which brings us to that moment, the showdown. Thing faces Isaac, the man it literally came from, and doesn't flinch. No loyalty, no hesitation, just cold, clean defiance. Because Thing isn't Isaac anymore. It chose a side, a family, a purpose. And the origin? Oh, it's straight out of a dark fairy tale with a sci-fi twist. A failed experiment, a supernatural blast, and a severed limb soaked in raw energy, turning inert flesh into conscious life. Thing wasn't born. Thing happened. A mistake. A miracle. A mutation with a soul. Unlike others in the series, born with powers, marked by lineage, Thing is a glitch. An anomaly. And maybe that's why it feels so human. But here's the real emotional gut punch. Gomez and Morticia didn't just keep Thing out of convenience. They chose to, not out of pity, but as a silent pact with their past, a symbol of what they lost, what they almost destroyed, and what they managed to save. Keeping Thing close? It's like carrying a living secret through the halls of the mansion, a walking, crawling reminder that some mistakes deserve redemption, not erasure. And that's why Thing fits into the Addams dynamic so perfectly. It's not just comic relief, it's history, healing. It watches over Wednesday, protects Pugsley, risks everything, because it understands what second chances mean. In the end, Thing isn't just a severed hand with sass. It's a scar, a symbol, a survivor, the emotional echo of Isaac's failure and the Addams' forgiveness, wrapped in stitches and crawling across the floor. Hold on tight, because Isaac's endgame in Wednesday is as twisted as it is brilliant, the kind of plan that feels like it was scribbled in blood in the margins of some cursed Nevermore textbook. He's not just after revenge or power. Isaac wants to drain the supernatural abilities of his own sister, Tyler's mother, using his infamous power extraction machine one last time. But to pull that off, he needs a living, breathing power source. Specifically, someone with electricity-based abilities. Enter Gomez, Uncle Fester, or even Pugsley. All Addams by blood. All potential batteries. Sound familiar? It should, because Isaac's tried this before, and it ended in tragedy. During a dark ritual performed by 3 generations, Morticia, Wednesday, and Grandma. Wednesday has a haunting vision, a flash from the past. Young Gomez and Morticia dragging Isaac's lifeless body to a grave beneath the eerie skull tree. Here's the kicker: Gomez and Isaac were best friends, brothers in all but blood. But it all fell apart when Isaac, desperate to cure his sister's hide curse, used Gomez's electric powers in a reckless experiment. It nearly killed him. Morticia stepped in just in time to save Gomez, but the cost was devastating. Isaac died, and Gomez lost his powers forever. And that, dear fans, finally solves one of the show's oldest mysteries. Why does Gomez, despite having studied at Nevermore, show no powers? He had them, but they were taken. Oh, and guess where they buried Isaac? In a grave originally meant for Gomez. Talk about poetic irony. But there's more. Augustus, Isaac's shadowy financier and puppet master, was still lurking in the background. So Morticia and Gomez buried not just a body, but the truth. And guess who digs it all up? That's right, Wednesday. Despite warnings from Morticia and Grandma, she dives into the mystery headfirst, because that's what she does. But nothing prepares her for the jaw-dropping twist. Thing, our lovable, 5-fingered sidekick, is actually Isaac's hand. The same one Morticia severed during that long-forgotten showdown. The silent companion we've trusted since season 1 is literally part of the season's biggest villain. Bold move, writers. Then comes the horror. Isaac, with Tyler's help, captures Thing and reattaches it to his body. Just like that, his telekinetic powers are restored, and he's more dangerous than ever. He wastes no time. Isaac buries Wednesday alive. Cold, ruthless, devastating. Meanwhile, Tyler becomes his next tool. Following a plan laid out by his own mother, he's forced into the extraction machine to have his hide powers drained, something he fights against with every fiber of his monstrous being. Just when all hope seems lost, Wednesday bursts into the lab, axe in hand and fire in her eyes. Tyler begs for death. She refuses, letting him go instead, pretending her grip slipped. But deep down, she knows the only way to stop Isaac is to unleash a hide against another hide. She rescues Pugsley, destroys the machine, and draws Isaac into the ultimate showdown. Tyler versus his mother, a brutal, twisted battle of blood and legacy. Amid the chaos, Wednesday tries to rip Thing from Isaac's arm, but before she can, the machine begins to overload. And in a shocking moment of redemption, Tyler's mother throws herself into the explosion, sacrificing herself to save everyone. And then, the final blow. Fueled by rage, Isaac lunges at Wednesday, choking her with his powers. But Thing, now fully aware, fully awakened, turns on him. In a savage, precise move, Thing rips Isaac's mechanical heart from his chest. Just like that, it's over. Isaac collapses. Thing detaches from his body, finally free. The hand returns to the Addams family, not just as a loyal companion, but as a survivor, a relic of guilt, rebirth, and redemption. This isn't just the end of a villain. It's the closing of a generational curse, a cycle that began with a desperate attempt to save someone and ended with a real act of sacrifice that finally made it right. And Thing? Still crawling, still silent. But now, we know, those fingers carry more weight than anyone ever imagined. Alright, if your brain is still trying to recover from that wild theory, you know what to do. Smash that like button to support the investigation. Hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the dark, juicy revelations from Wednesday and all the other shows we love to dive into around here. Oh, and on the end screen, you'll see another video about the Wednesday series. Go ahead and click it. No fear, there's more theories, more behind the scenes, and all the eerie content true fans live for. See you in the next deep dive into the dark side of your favorite series.